I'll actually welcome all to the announcement of the crmnow vCast technology. It's a very significant day from crmnow's point of view for any number of reasons, not the least of which is that I've met Craig Meek here for the first time.
Yeah, no, that's great.
Craig's the CEO of FutureTech, who's our New Zealand-based business partner who provide the underlying powwow video technology, which is at the heart, if you will, of the vCast offering. But I think more significantly, and I think in line with the trend we're seeing broadly in the industry, is Craig and I have only met today for the first time because for the last 6 months, we've been able to conduct business using video.
And if I can just say something, because I think that's actually pretty amazing in that for us to have gone this far without a physical meeting and to be able to video across the Tasman, and then for me to have probably more trouble today just getting through the traffic, and the fact that we're here, which is fantastic. So really looking forward to the rest of the show.
Thanks. So I think that extends much further, and we'll talk about this in the context of where we've been using vCast. Even our technical teams have not met face-to-face. All of the interactions have been conducted over the use of the vCast technology. So a solid example, a working example, if you will, a case study that demonstrates how effective it is. Anyway, so look, let me move on from there, because I think the first question that people are asking, what is vCast? And for many of you who are sitting out there, this is probably a continuation of a theme you've heard us talk about for the last 3 to 6 months. We've been using vCast, or the video technology element of this, in many different ways, not the least of which is working with FutureTech. But we've found it now a tool to conduct interactions with customers. As you know, we work right across Australia, and increasingly now we're looking to the East and New Zealand as a great opportunity for us. It's just been an enormous time saver and cost saver to use this technology, which is getting us into new types of interactions, but being able to use our time far more effectively. And you know what? We're not alone. If you go to the US, we're finding that in some organizations, they won't even make a face-to-face call without having conducted an initial qualifying call via some form of technology here. But vCast is a little bit different in that because it's integrated out of the CRM On Demand platform, what we've now got is the ability to establish an audit trail, a history, or develop a set of organizational knowledge using the video asset. Anyway, we'll talk a little bit more about that as we go forward. So Craig, if I was to ask you, talk to me about this particular technology. So we've heard of WebEx, we've heard of Skype, there's many of these sorts of technologies out there, but this is really different. We know it is. Can you perhaps explain a little bit to some of the people who are watching?
Yeah, well, I mean, as an inventor of a piece of technology, for me, it was all about the frustrations of, for everyone, or getting a large group of people, and what you'll see upstairs here is actually a little bit of a carousel area, and at the moment you'll see Rob's picture there blinking. That's actually us talking, but we can have up to 25 people just in this carousel where social media combines with powwow, is that you have a little profile picture, and in some way you kind of feel like you're in this kind of virtual meeting. And one of the big things that I felt was really important was that when I had a voice conference, I didn't know who was on the other end, and also if I was going to share content, as you can see over on the right hand side here, I've got a slide. Now that can be a PowerPoint, it can be a PDF, it can be, and what we'll show you shortly is a video. The ability to be able to almost have a YouTube in the background of powwow, which enables you to suck forward videos, everything in the cloud. And the reason I'm showing the slide next door here is showing that our window through the internet is through the browser. There is no software to download with this platform. And I think it's fantastic that crmnow is, taking the powwow platform to vCast, taking today's video message, and where it can also be an interactive webinar where we can invite people, but for today it's a video message. Now, so And again, to illustrate the carousel, probably looking at the way in which we're actually working with investor relations, where you can see over on the right-hand side there a pretty full carousel at the top where you can see people's pictures. If you imagine they're all blinking when they talk, you've got a sense that they're there. You've got the content down the bottom there. You'll be able to see exactly what we're seeing right now as our slide deck, and we can go through and we can select those. So just a bit of an example, but as we're talking through unique benefits, I think, of the platform is that, you know, a lot of different, you know, and I'll not to quote different names, but GoToMeeting or GoToWebinar, where they use webinar, but we're going to be able to show you now a video. So if this was a product launch and you wanted to show a piece of video, and we'll actually stop our video when I go through this, so you can just see the video, and we'll stop for a second. So here's probably a car that you should recognise, and we'll stop for a second. Okay, so that was just an example of you know, hopefully Rob's new car, you know, so in terms of that's again just giving you a glimpse of a video clip, you know, being able to play that in there and make everything available, remembering that all today's meeting is recorded and you can play it back at your leisure.
And you know, I think what we've already experienced is the power of being able to broaden our view on what are the assets that we can reuse in the context of talking to our market. I mean, people would be familiar with our monthly updates as a company, what we're up to, and we've reused some assets that we found on the web, but also from our business partners. So we start to see a broadening of how you can talk to your customers, but also what you can use to really communicate effectively, because sometimes it's very expensive to start from scratch to create all this, but what you do want to do is have something with high impact. So, you know, we've started to use this for job interviews, for recruitment. We're using it for internal company broadcasts. So, you know, we operate across locations in Southeast Asia. We operate across locations here, and obviously with our business partner community right across from the US through New Zealand and out to here. We're finding a really productive tool to use. But I think one of the questions we've been asked continually is, what does it look like when you drive it out of CRM On Demand? And this represents the first technology we're going to use and integrate it with. So if you like, here's a screen that many of you will have seen before. So this just represents your standard out-of-the-box CRM On Demand screen. Now what we've done in doing this is we've started to add a little bit to it. So if we go to the next screen, you'll see it, and we've exploded this up just to make it a little bigger for you. But against the activities, we've now got a vCast Now button. And when you hit that button, what you get taken through to is the appointment screen. Again, a user experience that many of you, all of you, are used to, and you'll see that it defaults out to a time. And when you actually go to save that appointment and put that in, then what you see is it pre-fills the information around vCast. And in addition, what that does is send an email out to the person that you want to have that conversation with across the vCast tool. So what you've basically now got is an invitation sent and your ability just to click through and initiate the video interaction. So once you've finished with the video interaction, you're brought back to the screen, and in fact what you will get the opportunity to do is type in whatever notes you feel are relevant to that particular conversation, and automatically a link is brought back in against that activity record so that you've got a recorded conversation point there. So you can go back, revisit that as necessary, maintain a link. You can share that with other people who are able to see that particular activity. And essentially all of this means that you don't have to worry about all of that video stuff. As a B2B organization, a B2C organization, anyone having that conversation, you've now got the ability to use another channel, telephone, face-to-face. Now you've got a vCast channel at your disposal. But again, opportunity to see that in more detail going forward. When we start to think, okay, who's going to use this? What sort of organizations are going to get value out of it? And as you may be aware, we do a lot of work in the financial services industry. And so what we're already seeing is financial advisors going, this is going to be great for my personal productivity. I'm going to be able to have more client interactions. For those clients that want this, we will go out and rather than seeing them face-to-face, we'll do it from the office. And what we know from the financial industry survey that we did last year and we're about to do a second time around is people, when financial advisors talk to them, are much more comfortable in their home environment. The technology is not so much the inhibitor. It's actually getting yourself into a comfort zone. So if we can make more calls without having the travel time, those meetings that just don't happen, we can have that knowledge and retain that, and we can actually use it as the basis for collaboration. I don't know, Craig, you've got an example in New Zealand, I think, yeah?
Yeah, well, I guess it's all about being sustainable, isn't it? I mean, not burning up the carbon, and for people to, again, use low-tech in terms of, when I say that, your browser, your basic home camera, your ability to, in the case of insurance, where the advisor to customer can have now, potentially due to compliance, may have to have 3 or 4 interactions with the customer. Yeah. And so if you can save the travel time, sometimes obviously you're always going to be doing the face-to-face, and we've finally done our face-to-face, but we got through 6 months, so, and I think that, so our examples are really about sort of advisors and customers being able to share a document, being able to go through a policy and screen share so that they're actually capturing that information and automatically being able to save that whole meeting back into a CRM system. Automatically gives you that record of the interaction. It gives an audit trail, and the fact that it's archived, and it can be archived obviously for life, so it's a gold-plated storage system in the cloud, which is pretty exciting.
So we've got collaboration, we've got productivity, but we've also now met a need for any of those compliance obligations that an organisation has around the record keeping for a particular interaction. But let's go further and have a look at some of the other examples. I mean, one of the conversations we've been having with some of our pharmaceutical clients is how do we, when we've got an expert that may be needed in 3 or 4 locations on an ad hoc basis, how can we share that particular person's knowledge and make sure that we keep a record of the advice or the guidance that was given out at that particular time? So in terms of, some real life, if we needed access to some technical expertise from Craig's organisation, or if we were actually dealing with you and we wanted to bring someone in from the US.
Yeah. Well, I mean, again, we've got some great examples of that in terms of in retail, where basically you may have a store like a telecom kind of technology store where you have an expert in one location but the customer's in another location, and because of the specialised knowledge, Vodafone in New Zealand have launched the Ninja. So the idea of actually being able to use our technology to actually enable stores to go, well, I'm in Dunedin, and the customer may be in Sydney, but the fact that they can actually come face to face, they can pull up their phone and screen share and go through that whole interaction. So again, people can learn and actually use knowledge from wherever they are is pretty exciting, and I can see that being a fantastic option for Australia in terms of.
It's really interesting, in the technology game, we often get access to experts that fly in from head office, the mothership, and yet getting them into some of the far-flung locations, Perth, just takes too much time out of the day. Yet we do want to have a recorded asset that we can share for people that don't make it. Here we've got a great tool for that.
Well, I think then again too, where the carousel comes in really well is that you may have a sales team of 10 people, and they may be Perth and Brisbane and Darwin. They may be all over the country. The ability to bring the expert in from the US and talk to those people I mean, that's a very unique interaction to get that. You know, otherwise you might be getting the DVD, but you're actually getting a personal interaction. You're getting the content, you're getting it saved, and you're getting that ability to go, I need to go back and have a look at that. I've got to share this with someone else, or I need to put that back up into some other, again, back to a CRM.
Yep.
So it's a recorded interaction, whether it be training, whether it be about knowledge, all of these things are coming together now.
Okay. So let's go further again. And this actually may come back to one of the initial uses of the technology from your point of view. So, you know, these are an opportunity to go very broadly to literally thousands of people with a broadcast. So I think you mentioned earlier shareholders and being part of shareholder meetings.
Yeah. Well, I think one of the other big part of the communication, so for shareholders, it's about getting visibility. You know, for those people who can't get to the AGM, and then it's the ability to be able to say, well, I want to actually come in and watch it on my iPhone or my iPad. And so, excitingly enough, we've actually launched our new iStore app. It's a one-way broadcast, and while it's focused on a particular vertical industry at the moment, where we see it being applied is actually out to a CEO. A CEO on a weekly basis being able to do a video newsletter. We're actually, and ironically, the environment is actually with multiple cameras, and so the person who's participating via their iPad or their iPhone is actually able to say, actually, I quite like the look of camera 2. Either it's a better view or a close-up view, and in this case, the example I'm giving here is Russell Stanners of Vodafone, where he's basically able to be viewed in a seminar product launch and being able to see from his audience, would be all his staff, being able to get updates on different products. So you can imagine, again, I think a revolution in the way in which communications can happen within an organisation through be it a vCast or a one-way broadcast to multiple devices.
You know, let's not underestimate iPad. Okay, I mean, what we see that almost as the default device with many of the executive team, and it's pervasive out there. And so that ability to broadcast and be seen at that time on the device you want to use, key part of this.
Well, I mean, again, it's a very sexy marketing tool, and obviously, as you say, and you've always told me this, is that, you know, everyone wants the iPad, but I guess from our perspective as a developer, you know, we've got to keep up with the whole process. So this at this stage is the one-way. Powwow on the other side on the browser environment's two-way. Really looking forward to seeing this as a two-way. Choose your camera, have that high interaction is definitely the future.
Well, you know, we're already talking with a couple of retail companies, and the actual process of putting on a fashion show, it just lends itself so well to this because people can see a little bit behind the scenes, they can see what's happening out the front. You know, it's a very powerful tool, and where we see a huge step forward on the back of the CRM play is that we get insight. So if you're a Oracle CRM On-Demand user and you're using on-demand marketing, then you can actually see right through the process how many of those invitations went out, how many people clicked through, how many people registered, and in fact, in the fullness of time, you'll be able to see how long did they actually stay on. Because clearly those candidates for your product who stay on for the whole session represent your priority one type target organisations, target contacts. So, I mean, the more you think about it, when you start to look at the vCast approach, the underlying CRM technology, the build into what is a very, very powerful video communication tool with those multiple media at your disposal, the sky's the limit.
Well, I think just what we're doing today, you know, illustrates the idea of a video message where we're able to maybe explain something from either a complex thing or it's just an idea that needs to be packaged up and can be then sent out via a link into Facebook, into whatever other social media platforms is very powerful, and it's kind of natural, and I think it's, you know, really exciting. So it's great to be part of, and applaud you for your the work that you've been doing. So
all of these things build on two people, actually build on three, because what we're looking for now is beyond CRM now, looking for someone who's using the CRM demand technology to work with us to take it the next step.
Sure.
And so we're making that offer to you out there now, that if you're a user of the CRM On Demand technology, please come back, get in touch with us, and we'd be delighted to work with you to understand how you can exploit that technology going forward. So I think on that note, with that offer, we might leave it there. So thank you very much for your time. Craig, nice to finally meet you.
Yeah, that's great.
And look forward to working with you on a very exciting opportunity for us all.
Thank you.